Well, it seems like another affordable sports sedan with a 6-speed manual is on the chopping block. And this time, it is the Honda Civic Si and Acura Integra A-Spec Tech with a manual as well. This comes only weeks after Volkswagen announced that the Jetta GLI will no longer be offered with a 6-speed manual here in the US. And the list of fun, affordable cars that you can buy where you can rotate the gears yourself is dwindling rather rapidly, as your only options now moving forward after 2026 will likely only be the Elantra N and Subaru WRX. In a leaked memo to the public that was addressed to the plant that produces the Si and Acura Integra, it seems like these two models are not long for the world. So let's dive into this notice and see what is going on here. Let's also check out what's happening in the automotive industry through other media publications, because this does seem legitimate. This is not just a leak here where people are speculating. There is going to be a temporary discontinuation of the Si when it comes to the production. What we really don't know is the long-term effects. This has happened before with the Si, where they've had to retool, figure out a vehicle that's going to be suitable for the American buyer and also, of course, generate sales. So this could be the exact same issue. However, it seems like there is some pressure from the EPA. So, the shift start notice to all associates, and this was dated July 22nd. Due to the evolving business conditions surrounding the Environmental Protection Agency regulations required to certify the 2027 model year and beyond, Honda has made the decision to pause the production of the trims that utilize the 1.5-liter turbocharged engine paired with a 6-speed manual transmission at the conclusion of the 2026 model year. Impacted trims include the Civic Si and the Acura Integra A-Spec Tech. There will be no negative impact to the HCM production volume with this change. The Civic Si trim will be replaced with other Civic MTOC types, probably hybrids most likely, with those becoming very popular here in North America. As EPA regulations become clear, Honda will assess how best to proceed with the impacted trims. Dealer inventory for these impacted trims will be monitored for impact towards associate purchase and the HAVP program. So right now, it is just a temporary discontinuation or a production pause. This happens all the time in the automotive industry, although EPA regulations, that's a bit of a different story. That adds another element to this whole story, because sometimes manufacturers do hold off on production, whether it is to retool or maybe we're focusing on a new generation. Now, the current generation for the Civic has been around for quite some time. I mean, we're already on 5 model years now. It came out in 2022. So at some point there needs to be a mid-cycle refresh, possibly an entirely new generation. Looking at how Honda is focusing primarily on hybrids, it's not really crazy to think that the manual just is being pushed off to the side and they're using the EPA regulations as a scapegoat to not produce that car. But also, as we've seen over the last 5 model years and throughout this decade, that really, the Honda Civic Si, you don't see a lot of them out there. Sales are very low, and I can't imagine that most people are buying the Acura Integra with a 6-speed manual. Everyone's focusing on that Civic Type R or that Acura Integra Type S. And then if you do like what the Civic's offering on the lower end at around $30,000 to $35,000, objectively the hybrid is more fun and economical. Now, this is an article from Car Scoops. They take a deeper dive. They also contact Honda, and they're trying to get more information and a better understanding as to what is going on. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh, this is just speculation, no, this is legitimate. There have been a number of media publications and even people like Honda Pro Jason who have dived into this topic, and they're backing up these claims. So it seems like the Si is at least an endangered species at this point. So, this is from the article from Car Scoops. According to the document posted on social media and dated July 22nd, the decision is tied to changing circumstances surrounding the EPA regulations needed to certify 2027 model year vehicles and beyond. Honda is reportedly dropping trims that combine its turbocharged 1.5-liter engine with a 6-speed manual gearbox. This decision affects 2 of the most affordable cars that offer a 6-speed manual left in the US, both built at the Honda Canada manufacturing facility in Ontario, Canada. The Civic Si currently starts at $32,690, including destination in the US, and the Acura Integra A-Spec Tech with the manual transmission comes in at $40,495. Pricing alone, though, you could look at this and say, these cars aren't competitive. I mean, forget about the performance. 200 horsepower is way too low in 2026, but at 32.6, you could go with a Subaru WRX and get all-wheel drive and more performance. And then with the Acura Integra A-Spec, at $40,000, you could get a lightly used GR Corolla with all-wheel drive if you want that hatch. So just pricing alone doesn't make sense, and I'm pretty sure that most of the pressures to move away from these two cars, at least temporarily, is all pricing and all sales based. They can blame the EPA, but let's face it, there are cars out there that probably face these same regulations, and Hyundai isn't talking about getting rid of the Elantra N, and neither is Subaru with the WRX. In fact, Subaru right now could be doubling down on what that platform is offering. The bigger question is surrounding the Honda Civic Type R, and we've had a number of concerns about this car long term, right? Like, can Honda continue producing a car without a hybrid powertrain with a 6-speed manual? That's still up in the air. We have no idea what Honda's long-term plans are for the next generation, but Cars Groups is asking the same question. What the email doesn't say, and in this case, we're hoping no news is good news, is whether the Civic Type R and its Integra Type S brother might also come under fire from EPA regulations. The pair is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged engine and only available with a 6-speed manual. The Type R, remember, has already been dropped in Europe due to tightening Euro emissions regulations, although those rules are not linked to US legislation. We've contacted Honda for clarification on the SI and Integra A-Spec and to find out whether the Type R remains part of the long-term plan, and they're going to update this article when they hear back, so Honda isn't saying anything. If the report proves accurate, it would mark another setback for drivers who still enjoy doing their own shifting. Honda certainly wouldn't be the first automaker to wave goodbye to a manual in the US this year. Volkswagen recently removed the stick shift option from the Jetta GLI, following similar moves involving the Golf GTI and Golf R, citing slow sales. Now, that isn't much of a lie there. I mean, people are not buying manuals like they did before. While the enthusiast community is still strong, and there seems to be genuine interest in buying a manual still in the US, on the new side, it just isn't there. And even for Honda more specifically, everyone wants a Civic Type R. People want the Integra Type S. People want the GR Corolla. They don't want a low-powered car. Even the GR86 at some point needs to be updated, or we need a more fun car with at least 300 horsepower. That seems to be the baseline. That's what people want right now, and I think Subaru is listening as well. They're here with the WRX, and yes, they're doing really well right now. Sales are through the roof, and it seems like happy days are here again for that platform. But all manufacturers are going to have to sit back and think, well, maybe we do need to put in more power to keep buyers entertained and having them come back for more. Right now, Hyundai is still doing very well with the Elantra N. Sales are strong for both the manual and automatic. Again, you have the Subaru WRX. There's still options out there, but it seems like that what people want, what people are demanding, is well above the price tag and well above the performance that we have here out of the SI and Integra. And again, it's the pricing too. I mean, you can't justify spending $32,000 on the lower end with the SI for only 200 horsepower, and then also $40,000 for an Acura Integra with the same powertrain. It's just not going to work here. Then we take a look at it from Honda's perspective. If we set aside their investment towards hybrid powertrains and their focus on hybrid technology compared to where they were just a year ago with their EV push, on the performance end, everyone's purchasing a Type R. People want the Type R. And if you think about it, we've only had 2 generations of the Type R in the 21st century. So prior to that, if you wanted performance out of Honda, you were forced to go with the Civic Si. I think a lot of buyers who purchased an Si in the past are going in the Type R direction or Integra Type S. Yes, it's far more expensive, but the buyers that grew up with the SI nameplate have all grown up. They've all matured, and they want more performance, and they're getting that out of those 2 models from Honda and Acura. So I think, really, this is more of a retooling situation. Maybe Honda sits back and thinks, you know, maybe we could make an SI with a hybrid powertrain, similar to the Prelude, right? Give it Type R suspension, give it great handling, and maybe that's how they're going to make it with the EPA regulations. There might not be a manual at $32,000 anymore from Honda. Or maybe they sit back and they're looking at what they can do to make this car still relevant in the US and in this market. Because really, truthfully, you don't see a lot of SIs or Acura Integras on the road. And I think it's more of a business decision than anything else. But we'll have to wait and see. Right now, it's temporary. This is not permanent. But right now, if you're looking at buying a fun, affordable sports sedan, your options are very limited.